Calling to order the Ukiah Valley Sanitation District regular meeting on Wednesday, April 10th, 2019 at 6 p.m. The Laws Avenue office at 6:07 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chelsea, would you like to do roll call?
Chair McNairland,
Present.
Vice Chair Witt,
Present.
Director Reed,
Here.
Director Baucom,
Here.
Director Marshall.
Present.
Okay, so the first item on our agenda is closed session. We are going into closed session tonight not to consider disregarding our operating agreement with the City of Ukiah that was signed up as part of the settlement agreement after a lengthy and costly lawsuit, and contrary to what you read in the editorial in the Ukiah Daily Journal. That was just fake news. But we're going into closed session to discuss implementing a procedure outlined in the agreement to settle financial disparities between the city and the district. These include the city overcharging and unfairly charging the district, a dispute over the county jail account, and the city's blanket objection to every line item in the district's administrative budget. In the previous contract with the city, signed in 1955, and with its most recent update over 20 years ago in 1995, the city had absolute and total control of district revenue and expenses. There was no elected district board. There were no checks and balances. And as history shows, power concentrated is power abused. The city had the power to allocate, spend, and charge district funds in any amount. And they did, recklessly and abusively. After an investigation, the grand jury not only released a report expressing the need for an elected board, but later released a report stating that in 1955, the 1955 contract and its amendments were one-sided in the city's favor, were unfair to the district, and it called for the district to seek legal counsel and pursue a new contract with the city. Years later, after the establishment of an elected board, the district sued the city and a new and fair contract was written between the two as part of a settlement agreement. As with most settlements, neither side is 100% happy, but the agreement is fair. For the district, the new contract was the most vital piece of our settlement agreement because it called for the sharing of all sewer system related expenses to be shared by both parties, when in the past, only the city's side was shared by the district, and the district carried the burden of paying for their administrative expenses all on their own. This new contract also has a provision for quickly addressing disagreements between the two parties, thus avoiding costly lawsuits. So it was the mission of this board to have a new agreement that we thought was more fair, that addressed issues between the two without having to file any more lawsuits. This is an agreement that took years to write, that the city helped craft, and that the city signed only 5 months ago. We hear a lot of talk by city manager St. Giacomo and editorials in the local paper about the district wasting money. But having this elected board and having a new agreement saves the district millions of dollars. For example, in the previous contract, the city was allowed to charge the district any amount for any line item, and they would literally take the district's money without its consent or even knowledge. In the last fiscal year, just prior to the settlement, the city inflicted a government overhead charge of $750,000 to the district. This charge was not for operation or maintenance of the sewer plant. It was not salary and benefits for those working at the plant or the maintenance crews. It was not the charge to bill or collect fees from our ratepayers. It was not for building or vehicle maintenance. It was not for equipment to run the plant or maintain lines or for chemicals for the plant. It wasn't for a sewer project, no. It was an overhead expense. All of those other things I mentioned, we pay for in separate line items. This was just a government overhead charge. It took the form of $750,000 cash taken from the district account and put into the city account. The accounting firm hired by the district found this, and they raised the question to the city. The city then said they had made a small error and adjusted the number down by about $200,000. So now the burden to the district is somewhere around $500,000. Now, because it was the fiscal year prior to the new operating agreement, there is no efficient mechanism in place for the district to dispute this charge. It was my hope that after the settlement, the city and the district would move forward in a mutually respectful relationship. It was my belief that the city's shameless, unethical, and unprofessional accounting practices of the district's funds and ESSUs was in the past, that it was done by those who no longer work for the city or who no longer are part of the city council, and that we would move forward in a trust but verify relationship. I was looking forward to a bright and prosperous future for the district, working hand in hand with the city. But unfortunately, under the new leadership of Mayor Maureen Mulhern, the city of Ukiah has shown it has no intention of following this new operating agreement. Through the city manager's own words at this meeting last month, the city asked that the new operating agreement, signed just 5 months ago as part of a settlement, be tossed aside, and we enter into a simple memorandum of understanding in which the city once again has total and complete control of all district finances. A return to the past. The past, where a $750,000 cash line item adjustment can go undetected. The past, where the city has taken district customer accounts and the revenue from those accounts for decades, and the district is never made whole. The past, where the district is overcharged or double charged and has no mechanism to stop the flood of district funds from being swallowed by the city. The past, where the district has to sue the city to recuperate misappropriated district funds that were identified by independent auditors, and where the district has to sue just to get the city to sit down at the table to renegotiate a fair contract and a fair ESSU cost allocation plan. The past, where the district pays for half of all city sewer administrative expenses, and the city pays zero of the district's administrative expenses. These aren't just allegations. All of this actually happened and cost the district millions of dollars. Of course, it was a net gain for the city. You analyze this information and try to tell this board why the city no longer wants to follow the operating agreement it signed October 3rd, 2018. An agreement that took years for the city and the district together to craft, and that we all believed was fair when we sat at the table and signed it. Why does the city now want total and complete control of all district funds? Why does the city now not want the district to have even one full-time employee? Why does the city now not want this accountability? Tell me how this district board is supposed to trust and respect a city which continues to demonstrate institutionalized ethical decay through its continued defiance of a signed agreement and continued questionable financial practices. In closed session, we will discuss our next steps, and I hope to gain authorization from this board to tell you every single detail of that closed session when we're done. We're now into closed session. Thank you. I think we can turn the camera off, please. Okay. Ukiah Valley Sanitation District meeting coming back into open session at 7:39 p.m. And the report out of closed session. With a 4-1 vote, the board authorized district staff to initiate the arbitration notice regarding the fiscal year 18-19 budget according to section G1 of the operating agreement. The city of Ukiah has 15 days to give a written response to the district according to the operating agreement. That's our report out. The next item on the agenda is public expression of non-agendized items. This time we will open it up. You may or may not give your name. That's completely optional. And we ask that you limit it to 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 questions and a request.
Yes, ma'am.
For you, Teresa, were your other board members aware that you were going to read a prepared statement?
No, ma'am.
And did they have, so they did not know the content?
That was
They
my-
did not know it?
That was my personal statement, ma'am.
Okay, and why was your statement not included in the agenda package?
It was an opening to closed session and why we were going to closed session.
Okay, and my
So that was on the agenda.
I would like a copy of that statement, please.
Okay, it's video recorded.
I know that, but I would like a copy prior to the week long it takes to get his video recorded.
Okay.
They don't blow up right away. They usually take about a week to get it. So since you had a hard copy there and this
I
is a
did.
public meeting, I would appreciate
It
it.
is noted up, but I will do my
And I
best.
can come back tomorrow morning and pick it up from Chelsea if tonight is not.
Actually, I had to have someone else print this for me, so I'll get on it. Chelsea, maybe you can get with her. I don't mind giving it.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't say everything that was written, and I did say things that weren't written.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not an exact transcript. I would say if you would like an exact transcript of what I said, which would be the most reliable document,
Yes,
would be just to get it off the video.
I will, but I would appreciate a copy of your statement.
Sure.
Tonight or tomorrow. I'll talk to Chelsea after the meeting.
Is there any other public expression of non-agendized items? Yes, sir.
My name's Steve Honeycutt. I've been here, and that is the 3rd time when I am requesting a will serve letter from this district. I've got to tell you that I don't have a good reaction to being a late start and then listening to that diatribe, and you never seem to get to the provision of services that you're established to provide.
So,
I want a will serve letter. I've asked for the ability to meet with a committee, to work out issues, whatever it takes. Nothing seems to happen with this board.
so we approved the cost allocation ESSU. This board was told it was already edited and approved by the city council. We forwarded that to the city council. That plan sets in stone how many ESSUs we have.
I'm talking
And
about
so-
a will serve letter for our project.
Exactly.
On Lover's Lane.
Which means exactly how many ESSUs we have to give you. We need that document signed by the city of Ukiah. We were told that. Doug, when was that supposed to be signed? Maybe we have 5 people here from the city. When was that supposed to be signed?
It's on our agenda for this next meeting. It hasn't been on the last 2 agendas because I couldn't be there.
So we approved that document and the city's,
But that,
it's now on their agenda.
What is the relevance of any of that
That's
to the ability to serve our project?
If we do not have agreement with the city on how many ESSUs we actually have, how can we promise them to you?
I think you can go ahead and do that because I developed that number. You approved that number. I'm nearly certain that we're going to approve that as well. There was literally no dispute between the city or or UBSD's representatives on that agreement. I don't think it's controversial in the slightest way.
I didn't think so either until it
Exactly.
never got approved.
Well, it's not that it never got approved. We missed 2 board meetings, to be perfectly frank, because my dad died. And he's not from here. The logistics of getting him buried have been difficult, and I'm sorry about the delay, but it's really irrelevant to the entire
Okay, well,
thing.
we were actually told that before we got it, it had already been
No.
approved by the city and it had changes on it, and we actually had to initial off those changes and give it back because we were changing a document that had already been approved. So it was my understanding that we were the final step in the approval of that. And then we got an email from the city attorney saying, no, that's not the case, and the city hasn't
And that
approved
was
it
never
yet.
the case. Actually, what was said was that nothing had ever been prepared. And I said that is not true. David Rapport had sent the draft document to Duncan. Duncan got it to you. You approved it. Now it's on our agenda for approval.
How do we get this man a will serve letter tomorrow without it? We don't have staff. How can we do that? Can we contract someone or get this done tomorrow? Because this has been going on forever and it's completely unacceptable. I don't like it either.
If the board, one of the problems is it's not an action item on the agenda, but if the board gave direction to me to draft a will serve letter, we haven't. My understanding is we were simply waiting for approval, like you said, from the city of the agreement regarding ESSUs before we could approve any will serve letters.
I make a motion to give Doug the ability to draft a letter.
It's not on the agenda. The
Well,
board can't
it's-
take any action on that.
Well, I give direction. I give direction. Does everybody agree for Doug to do it tomorrow and give this man his will serve letter? Does everybody?
I agree.
Is there any objection to the chair giving direction to district staff to draft a, how many, sir, how many
We have
ESSUs?
123 single-family lots proposed, and we'll be before the county with the FEIR as soon as I can get this will serve letter.
We have 11.
Is there any objection by any board member at this time if tomorrow I call up district staff and give them direction to draft a will serve letter to this gentleman?
No.
None?
Thank you.
Chelsea, can you write down my cell phone number and please give it to him?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be this hard. It really shouldn't. I am so sorry. Honestly, this is,
I just want to, you're in the business of providing sewer service.
yes,
Let's do it.
absolutely. And I apologize, and I know every single person on this board is sorry as well.
Thank you.
You call me on my cell phone. No
Okay,
problem.
all right, thank you.
Is there any other city manager San Giacomo? Sorry, escaped.
Thank you. The city of Ukiah wants nothing more than collaboration. However, collaboration comes in many different forms. I think it's pretty safe to say that the current approach is not working. It hasn't worked and it continues not to work. We're hurting our ratepayers, the economic prosperity of the entire valley. And I'll say it again, that our community would be best served to operate the combined system as one with the same rates and the services provided to all. This can absolutely be achieved with a simple agreement between the district and the city to authorize the city to operate the system for the benefit of all ratepayers as one system with the same rates and the same services. Again, one system, one set of customers, one set of rates, one pot of ESSUs, one system. It doesn't take months to accomplish that. It doesn't take years to accomplish that. It doesn't take annexations to accomplish that. It takes a simple agreement between the district and city to do that. And again, I ask for the district, what does it hurt to explore that? What does it hurt to bring it before this board and have you examine that and make that determination if it works?
Where's the proposal, Sage?
What's that?
Where's the proposal?
If the district is interested in that, we will absolutely get that proposal to you.
What?
And we told you that we were interested in,
No one has told us that we're interested
So
in
why
that.
not just annex the district? Because that's how you do have one system.
No.
You just take control and annex the entire district and go do it. Honestly, go through LAFCO and do it. I don't think anybody will object.
That is certainly an approach that could be done, and it would take time to do that. But our current relationship and this current approach that we're in now is hurting everybody, including the ratepayers. And so, it just takes the simple request of the district to agendize this item and bring it forward for your consideration. You can say no.
Is there anyone else wishing to comment during public expression of non-agendized items? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, approval of board meeting minutes. Any member in the gallery wish to comment on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, any board members have any corrections to the minutes?
I'll have to abstain, I was not here.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for March 13th, 2019 regular meeting?
Move to approve. I second.
Motion by Director Reed and a second by Director Bockham. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? You gonna abstain or?
Yeah, I'm
All
gonna
right.
abstain.
Okay. Item number 5 is a consent calendar. Check register for March, county expenses for March, and reports from the city for February.
I just have a couple comments. I think in February and we didn't have the monthly expenses for some reason. Yeah, and
For the district.
It was the city expenses we didn't
oh,
have.
the city expenses. It wasn't the monthly expenses of the
No.
district? Okay. Okay, and the second, I must have just couldn't find them. The second thing is, that I wanted to note is that 55% of the monthly expenses in March, this last month, were again attorney's fees, $31,000.
Right,
That's all I wanted
and
to know.
most of that does have to do with the research on who, which entity, the city or the district, have the county jail as their account. And so that has been completed, just so you know, and both sides will hopefully present their arguments to each other, and that can be decided on hopefully at a meeting. So, is there a motion to accept the consent calendar?
Make that motion.
Second.
Same comment from me. You gonna open that up or no?
You can second it, and then I have to open it. Still have
Second.
discussion. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment on the consent calendar? Yes,
I had a
ma'am.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Under the March monthly expenses, there's a $1,000 County of Mendocino notice of change of election year. What is that?
Well, Doug, I'll let you explain it.
I'm not sure what the bill was.
Oh.
The bill, I'm not sure what the bill itself was for. The district changed its election year, as most small districts have, over the past 2 years, so that they'll be on the same cycle as the county.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
To save money.
It was a state law that came down, or was it a state mandate that we have our elections coincided with general elections
Yeah, makes sense.
to decrease costs? And it looks like maybe the county had to do a little extra work to accommodate that, but we can't.
And it could have been for publication.
Oh, for the last election, like
For
the
no, I mean, for the notice of the changing.
Oh.
Because that all had to go through.
That's right.
Publishing.
Oh, it did. So,
Thank you.
is there anyone else from the gallery? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second to accept the consent calendar. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. Item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding contracting district manager services. And this item will be presented by Mark.
Given that the district is without a manager, and has been for some period of time, I did look into, I contacted actually CLA to see if they had some managerial services they could provide in the district, either in the near term to be a sort of a transition period over until when you did get a new district manager, or if in fact they had some way to provide that service. They apparently do this quite a bit in the Denver area, where they provide managerial services for sewer districts and water districts. We had a phone call with 4 folks, from Denver, 2 from Sacramento, and after much discussion, it just didn't appear to be really a feasible way to go. The concern is that you really need somebody sort of here on a regular basis, and it's not something that you could do, I think, through telecommunications and off-site. And the other thing that we talked about is the district was going to go ahead and hire a district manager by the time you got somebody up to speed, and then you hired a manager. It really didn't make sense financially. So it was an attempt, and it didn't really bear any fruit. The other discussion that we had a few days later was that they offered to come in. They could provide maybe what you would consider as sort of a CFO type of a situation by project. So if you had some specific projects that you had in mind, currently the district is working on rate studies. There's bond refinancing. I mentioned those just as examples. They could come in and probably handle those on a case-by-case basis and help carry through on those if the district had some ideas that they wanted to farm that out. So those matters were taken care of on a regular and sort of a professional way. You have an engagement letter with them. They have some stated hourly rates. You could estimate the hours and come up with some sort of budget. So there is a possibility that the district could enter in a contract if they had some identified projects with CLA. And there's other people that do it. I just chose CLA because they know us now through the financials, and they have those offerings to see if even something like that was possible. So that possibility does exist and provide some sort of contracted services at different levels. But the idea of getting a district manager in is, I just don't think a feasible one, both financially and practical matter.
I think the public might be a little lost because I don't think we've had a meeting since we had an interview and negotiated the contract with the last potential district manager. He was on board had a home to rent in Ukiah, was very excited about coming here. And while I was on vacation, I got a call from him saying that due to personal reasons, he was no longer going to accept the position. So that fell through. So we have Chelsea in the district manager position once more, but we're also trying to just look at different ways to fill this position that was quicker, maybe just hiring someone for services instead of just, bringing in a full-time person or, just exploring other options because this is a problem. So that was the reason for the discussion with CLA.
They do have a service where they go out and do professional searches in this field specifically, and and again, you could look into those if you decided that was the way you wanted to go. If the system you have is working or you're fine with it, that's great. If it needs some improvement or if you want to look at a different approach, those folks are out there. There's more than one. There's plenty of people that do it are reputable. But again, it's up to the board how they might want to proceed on that.
I have a question. Is it acceptable to ask Sage? Sage, how soon can you have us a proposal that lays out what the framework would be of the city operating the system?
I mean, easily by your next board meeting, or sooner if you'd like it sooner.
Well, we're in a quandary. I'm in a quandary. My mind is in a quandary as far as we're going to hire a district manager with several other options that the city being one, maybe there's some other options that we need to explore. I believe that I'm not real anxious to hire a city manager in the next month.
District manager.
Or a district manager in the next month until I have seen some other options.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see it as soon as we could see it.
I would like to see if we could call a special meeting and table this discussion for management services until that we can hear that proposal in a special meeting to let the city show us what what they have in mind in maybe a couple of weeks.
So
Before-
we do need a special meeting after we receive after the 15 days. I thought we would call a meeting on day 16.
So can we have 2 agenda items on?
Yes,
on
yes,
that
we can.
session? With, I would like both the agenda items to have possible action taken during, not just informational. That we can go forward and take action on either one. Which is okay in a special meeting, you can't take action. I read.
You can on most things. The question that I can't answer right now is whether or not a agreement with the city would be able to be voted on regarding the cost and price. Generally, you can't hire and agree to salary changes or salaries at special meetings for district managers.
It's my understanding there wouldn't be salaries involved, so.
Well, you're giving money to somebody to do something.
No, you're running the system as one system, so it's kind of.
And without seeing the agreement, I can't really give an opinion as to
Okay,
whether you could actually vote. You could hear it, most likely, but whether you could vote.
I think the whole proposal's a mystery, so until we actually see it, we can't do anything or even discuss it because it's not
So
even an actual
can we,
document at this point.
agree on after 15, agree on a special meeting date that everybody can make to let the city.
Well, we're gonna have a special meeting on the 16th day, so
16th day, what's that?
It's the 10th, so.
So will that letter get out
we're
tomorrow?
27th, what's that?
The letter to the city to initiate the arbitration. So that's, then they have 15 days to respond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is Friday,
26th.
April 26th.
I could do that. Can anybody else do that?
I can do that at 7 p.m. I'll be in Colorado.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I can make it.
At 7?
Bernie?
Sure, 7's fine.
I should be able to make it.
Sage?
Yeah,
Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna make a proposal like this, I think that it's imperative that the full board be available for that decision and that discussion. And so I would personally, I mean, you don't make decisions.
We're not going to
decisions
make a
about that.
decision. You can hand us a proposal and we'll make sure she gets it via email or something, but
With all due respect,
I would rather be able to
that's
ask
the board's,
questions.
that's the entire board's decision as to whether or not you make a decision or not. It's not a single person.
I'll be back and
so-
available on the 1st.
Monday? Oh,
But
Monday the 29th?
there's no decision gonna be made tonight.
It's, that's
But
the,
I would
that's
love
the
to be able
board's,
to ask
yeah.
questions.
There's no decision gonna be made over
Right.
something that, it has to be more complex than a one-page proposal.
Again, I'm only suggesting that the board has the authority.
I would love to be able to ask
decide.
questions as it's happening too.
So Wednesday the 1st?
Well, if we go too far past that 15 day, because then it kicks into the second 15 day.
Oh, for the arbitration.
Right. So I think
Exactly.
the closer we keep it to that original 15 day, the better.
Can you do a phone call or listen over phone? Just for your information, since,
there's actually procedures you do have to go through. Being in a public place,
oh yeah.
posting it, letting other people have the ability to attend, post the agenda wherever you are. So you can't just, remember Julie, you were out on a boat or something and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So we can receive a written agreement, a written proposal. We can ask questions. You can always communicate directly with the city. You see the mayor every day, right? So that
And then
shouldn't
we
be a
could-
problem.
Could we put it on the agenda in the May board meeting to readdress it?
Once again, I think we don't want to get too far out from that 15 day.
No, I mean for, have the special meeting on the 16th day, but then bring the proposal, the city's proposal back for the
For
May
further
meeting.
discussion.
Yeah, on an agenda item and we can vote.
Well, and on it, wait, the district's revenue is $15 million. I'm not going to decide the fate of a $15 million district and the fate of this man's ESSUs and the fate of all of the district's work that it did on a settlement agreement, on a contract that literally took years to write, because now he wants to give us a simple 3-page MOU. That's not enough to handle it. This is not going to be a quick process.
No,
a new agreement with the city.
It can be pretty quick, and if you look at the ratepayers, and the expenses that are continually happening, and the attorney's fees every month, over 50% of our budget, you have to look at what's best for the ratepayers. And it might be that simple. I don't know. It might not. But I think considering it in starting with the special meeting is a good way to start. And then we'll go from there, I guess.
So we'll have a special meeting on Friday, April 26th to review the city's response to the arbitration letter and to review the city's
proposal.
takeover proposal.
Not takeover, joint.
Yeah.
It's a joint.
No, there's
operating.
no joint anything in that proposal. I'm sorry, but it is a takeover.
You don't need to categorize it in any certain way.
And
7
we
p.m.?
should not preclude that from us seeking someone to give us the services of a general manager. Yes, Scott?
Hi, Scott Spears, videographer. I will not be available on the 26th to record, neither will my backup.
Okay.
My backup maybe, but I cannot guarantee someone will be here to record that.
Okay. How about the 25th?
Also, no. We're in a show, and it opens on the 25th.
Doug, how are we required by law to have, or what's the guideline for having the videographer at the meeting? Or statute or ordinance or policy?
Again, I would feel like I would miss so much.
I know we have like 8 views on YouTube.
I'm just saying myself, if I'm going to miss
And
that,
I can't
that's an
recall
important
if
discussion.
you're actually mandatory. I don't believe it is, that it's videotaped.
Andrew, when do you get back?
Videotape it.
I get back on that Tuesday.
Well, the other thought would be, we're talking about a 15-day response. Is it possible the city can get us the response before 15 days? If they can get it to us in 10 days, then we can do it on day 11.
Dom
Or
said
we'll just
that
do two
we can
separate.
file for an extension also. So
Well, let's start with the first question. Is it possible that the city can present their response to our arbitration,
Budget.
day 12, and we can have our meeting on day 13? When are you leaving for Colorado?
that Thursday.
That Thursday. So would it be possible?
25th?
So I'm asking if the city, would you guys think you might be able to get a response to that arbitration?
We haven't seen what you're sending us, so I can't, I don't know the
Yeah, that's
nature of what's
asking
being
a lot.
sent, or the objections or the request for arbitration. I don't know what that is at this time, so.
We're objecting to our budget.
But, I mean,
It's the same document
you have
you presented.
two different items, here to consider, so I don't know that they have to be done at the same.
Well,
at the same
the
meeting.
question, all I'm asking, Sage, is if you can get us a response to that in less than the 15 days, then we can have our meeting prior to that.
Yeah, with all due respect, I mean, the district has, prepared and spent a lot of money on attorneys to prepare whatever your response is. The city has not done that. We have not spent that type of money or that type of effort into this area, so until we actually see it and know what's coming, I can't fairly respond to that. I would like to think so. I would like to think
I
that
don't
we
think
would
that
have.
you would take it nicely if they asked us to hurry up and do it.
It doesn't matter. We can push it out as far.
Well,
We
how
won't
about-
even have a special meeting. We'll just work it out later. We'll wait for the city to get back to us, and when they do, everyone can be notified, and we'll call a special meeting. And when the city decides they want to put together a proposal to handle all of the district's business and money, then they can give us a call and we'll have them at the next regular meeting to present that proposal. In the meantime, I would like us to continue looking for someone to at least partly or temporarily fulfill the job of the district manager, because things are not getting done. Like, we'll serve letters, right? Anyway, so we'll set up the meetings later when we hear back from the city on the 2 different items. In the meantime, what does the board want to do about contracting district manager services?
Well, what Mark was talking about was the company he was talking about contracting. So that's a no-go. Do we have another service to contract with?
No, that is a go, as long as we identify projects that we need to have done. We need to have
But
done.
Teresa was talking about day-to-day things, will serve letters, complaints, or whatever, so they wouldn't be
district
able to
manager.
provide that.
Yeah,
So-
according to what he just said, they wouldn't be able to provide it.
No.
So are we gonna look for another contracting service? Is there another contracting service out there?
I looked on the internet and didn't really find anything that I thought was, that I could bring to the board to suggest. You know, I believe it needs to be someone relatively local. I didn't find anybody in Sonoma or the Bay Area that was performing those services.
Did you ever approach again like Dave Redding to just temporarily help us out?
We could do that. I have not.
Okay, I think we should go forward with something like that. Someone
I
who's
approached a couple other people that I thought would be appropriate, and they didn't have any interest.
I'm gonna throw it out there that if we're looking for somebody temporary to do those things and somebody that knows all the players and the things involved, Matt Frohnberger has applied for the position. Just putting that out there.
Applied for a full-time
But we
position.
might be able to talk to him about working for a month or 2.
Would you like to do that?
I can reach out to him.
I mean, there's nothing that says we can't, right? I mean, it would still take an agenda item and a board motion and a board vote to bring someone on.
Right, but I mean,
But you can certainly have discussions outside of this board meeting and bring it as an agenda item to the board.
I'm just looking at somebody that would be able to come in fairly quickly.
Temporarily.
Yeah, well, I'm hesitant to, with Sage's suggestion, maybe some other alternatives at present to sign up a long-term contract with the district manager.
But I mean, even if it was a month to
Felt
month,
like we got lucky by not doing that previously.
yes.
At this point, but
But if it's somebody, like we're saying, to do the will serve letters and to do day-to-day things until we know what the next step is. And I don't even know if he's interested, but I'm just saying, I know he applied, I know he's local.
That's why I'd like to approach Dave Redding too, so he's here, and so there's a couple.
So why don't you guys just
I can ask Dave tomorrow.
just shoot
Okay.
somebody shoot me an email of what they want on the next agenda and we'll throw it on there. Okay? All right. Anyone? Did I open this up to the gallery yet? If not, may I now? Item number 6. Anyone from the gallery have comment? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Don Crawford, and I'm a ratepayer, and I believe I have as much buy-in into this as everybody on the board in terms of expense and interest. And I'm trying to make this really positive. I think you need to really analyze your previous experience with the district manager that you had. And you need to make sure that however you took that experience, that it doesn't happen again. You can't rush into something that's important. I think that I'm not automatically supporting the city doing anything, but if they can give this board individually their lives back to solve a real problem. I can't imagine that they're gonna steal money from the district, but I'm a naive kind of person. And I think that it's important that we really do put our attention to the legal expenses that have accrued over a period since the law. I mean, eventually, we have to make sure that whatever advice the law firm gives you is not a conflict of interest in terms of continuing their revenue or enhancing the revenue. I don't know what goes on in these private sessions, but each one of you has a responsibility to report that if you feel there's a conflict of interest with a bias by your legal counsel. You eliminate that with somebody taking over the district managership. If the city does it, I don't know what would happen if you hire somebody too prematurely in a sense of desperation, and I can understand things are piling up. You just have to make sure that you don't make any mistakes that come back to haunt all of us, the ratepayers. So just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Sean?
Yeah, I just want to let you know that if you're looking for like a true temporary, I'm pretty certain that California Rural Water Agency does exactly that for small rural agencies that are struggling to find care and help. They have a series of professionals that you can basically bring on to bridge a gap. That's what they do.
What was that name again?
California
California
Rural
Water Agency Association, I believe. If you just Google Cal Rural, it will come up. They're based out of Sacramento, and they have operators, plant managers, kind of whatever you need to pinch hit when you're from a small town.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Don. I agree with you. Anybody else from the gallery wish to comment? Okay. See none. I will wait to hear back from board members on item number 6. So item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding approval of will serve letter for 1765 Adams Street. Who has information on this one?
I do. So this guy dropped this off at the office. You guys can take a copy. And we don't have a district manager, so I'm taking all these calls that have to do with will serve letters, so I don't like fully understand exactly what his project is because that's not my area of expertise. Does anyone else have one? I may run out of copies. There's 2 left. So he's I don't know if there's a lot of information in there about what exactly he's doing, but I believe that he's either adding on to his current house or he's building next to it and it's going to be a new address. I mean, all I have is that handout. That is not my area of expertise, so I just thought I'd bring it to the board and let the board know that this man also does want a will serve letter.
Isn't Adams across from Grace Hudson? Isn't it one of those off of Jefferson?
Man, I'm gonna have to Google it. I'm not sure exactly where Adams is.
Pretty sure Adams is.
He said that his existing address is 1761 Adams Street and that the new address would be 1765.
You got Google Maps. I'm pretty sure it's right on.
Well, it's
Jefferson.
really, he needs to go to the city and make an application for service for a new resident.
He doesn't need a will.
He doesn't need a will serve letter. He needs to go in and get pay for a sewer connection.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. He doesn't need a will serve.
What Ernie said.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Ernie, since we don't have a district manager, do you want to call him? His phone number's up here and let him know.
Yes,
Because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'll call him tomorrow.
Stuff like this.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
We are in contract to buy several vacant infill lots. At least one or two of them are in the district. And I was shocked just now I thought I was hearing that such a little thing would require a will serve letter. So I want to make sure I'm understanding now what you're saying, which is we're just applying for a connection.
Yeah,
Right,
Is that correct?
yeah.
right.
And if it's in the district, am I applying to you or the city?
It's city.
Thank you.
The city takes those applications.
All right.
Yeah.
Ernie, will you call him though?
Yeah, I
Please?
will.
Thank you.
Item number 8, announcements, other business matters from staff. Do we have any communication we've received at the district other than this that you should inform the board about? Are there any directors which would like to make a report right now? Seeing none, our next meeting is May 8th, and we are now adjourned at 8:20 p.m. Thank you.
Sorry to put so long.